Welcome to Coffee with Democrats, a sensible platform for progressive conversations. Coffee with Democrats is a grassroots movement dedicated to hearing from Democrats, candidates, legislators, and friends from all political backgrounds who want great conversations. Coffee with Democrats is committed to increase Democrat voter registration and Democrat voter turnout by making voting more exciting and meaningful. And now here's your host of Coffee with Democrats, Kevin Dawson.
Well, hey, folks, good morning and welcome to Coffee Break on Coffee with Democrats. As you can see, I am by myself this morning. Unfortunately, Chris Wier, who's a candidate who's running for House District 04, is not able to join us this morning. But hey, I want to go ahead and put a plug in for him. We try to support all the candidates as best we can, whenever we can. And he's somebody in an area of Oklahoma that we really need to continue to strive to help him out. So I'm going to show you guys something here real quick. And it's coming off of his webpage. And I think it'll kind of explain a little bit more about who he is and what he stands for. So bear with me just a second as I share his page.
I'm a proud citizen of the Cherokee Nation, and I'm a lifelong rural Oklahoman. I've lived in the state my whole life, and I know what's at stake. We must elect a representative who will fight for our basic rights, like access to affordable housing, guaranteeing public funds go to public education, fighting for tribal sovereignty, and just standing up for the rural way of life. I take this race seriously. I look forward to meeting you and your families on the campaign trail here in District 4.
So, folks, that kind of spells it out in a nutshell, exactly who he is and what he stands for. And we got to support him on that. I'm going to also pull up his webpage again so that you can see a little bit more about him. But also, I'm going to pull up his Act Blue account so you can see his Act Blue. So to show a little bit more about who he is, here is his webpage. So please go to Wier, WIER4OK.com. This talks a lot about who he is, gives you kind of the same elevator speech that you just heard directly from him on his YouTube channel, which I thought was superb. I wish all candidates would endeavor so much to do that, because that is a very quick and easy elevator speech that you can share on social media. And again, this is his webpage. You want to get involved. There's a place here for you to be able to get involved. He needs door knockers. If you want to sign and you live in his district, please, request a yard sign by clicking this button, just filling out this form. Look, this guy has got his webpage very organized. If you want to host a fundraiser or make calls for him, these are all active things to help. And I'll tell you, Chris has got a very good system in place. And then there's one more thing that I want to share with you about him, and that's his Act Blue. His Act Blue account is, again, if you want to donate to him, please do that, because House District 4, it's over on the east side of Oklahoma. And it's one of those areas that Democrats have been suppressed for the last 20 years. We have an opportunity to get 2 House District candidates over there and a Senate who is an independent who's going to be on here tomorrow. Again, we are Coffee with Democrats, but I'm going to go ahead and say we need to support independents who are anti-MAGA, somebody who will challenge the MAGA extremists within the Republican Party, and she is going to do that. So, but here's Christopher's Act Blue account. There it is. And I love that picture of him too, by the way, overlooking the river with the fields behind him. It just kind of spells out exactly where he is in eastern Oklahoma. And there's your choices. And I love the fact that he started this at only $4. Again, for the price of a cup of coffee. We are Coffee with Democrats, but just for the price of a cup of coffee, and you can go up from there, and you can put you can even put your own specific amount. If you want to give $10, you can fill that in right in this $10 field right here, and just then it's very easy to do with your debit card, credit card, whatever card you want to pay with. If you've got Google Pay, again, he's got everything ready to go. All the rules and stuff are in place right there. So again, folks, just to have a very brief conversation this morning about Chris Wier, I really think that we got to get behind our local Democrats in all of the areas that we can. Then I've got one more video one more video that I want to show this morning. And this goes back up to the national narrative. And this is a video that I think is really powerful. It's put out by the Lincoln Project. And so anyhow, let me pull this up so you can see it as well.
We've watched it happen in other countries. The military used against their own citizens. It's horrifying. We watched and thought this could never happen in America, but it can if Donald Trump is elected.
That's an enemy from within. That is a threat to democracy. These are bad people. We have a lot of bad people.
He's called for military tribunals for political opponents and American generals who stood by the Constitution. The Supreme Court says he can do anything he wants. That's the new law of the land in America. A man drunk with power.
You're a shit vice president. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. You're fired.
He asked the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, why can't I have generals like Hitler? You know why? Because this is America, our America, not Donald Trump's sick version of America. America or Trump.
And then I've got one more video, folks, that I'm going to share with you this morning. And this is a video that, let me stop that real quick. I've got one more video that I want to show you this morning. And this one was delivered by Michelle Obama. If you haven't watched the latest campaign event that Michelle Obama was able to attend live with Kamala Harris, this is one worth going back and rewatching because, again, there is very few orators in the political world today as good as President Barack Obama. But I'm going to tell you, folks, Michelle Obama, she can give it out just as good, and we might even say she might be just a little bit better than Barack. I'll tell you, she is really, really good. So bear with me as I get this one pulled up again. And this will be the last thing that we present this morning because, again, I know your time is valuable, and I appreciate you coming and spending just a few minutes with me this morning. So here is Michelle delivering her remarks.
So let me take a minute to help folks, especially the men in our lives, to get a better sense of what could happen if we keep dismantling parts of our reproductive care system piece by piece, as Trump intends to do. I want folks to understand the chilling effect, not just on critical abortion care, but on the entirety of women's health, all of it. There are good reasons why so many women and physicians are horrified by what's happened since Donald Trump's justices overturned Roe v. Wade. We're seeing women scrambling across state lines to get the care they need. Just this week, a major medical journal reported that after Roe was overturned, infant mortality in this country rose, in large part because women are being forced to carry fetuses that won't survive to term. One woman spent 22 days in jail on murder charges after she miscarried in her own bathroom. We are seeing doctors unsure if they can treat ectopic pregnancies. Doctors being told they can't treat a woman until she becomes so close to death that only a life of the mother exception will allow them to act. So just imagine the profound effects for all of us if Donald Trump wins this election. In states that are already putting abortion bans into effect, his FDA could further outlaw patchwork systems of telehealth appointments and mail order pills, thereby eliminating the last remaining protections for women in those states. He could take actions that effectively ban abortion nationwide, which would put all of us in danger, no matter what state we live in. We will see more doctors hesitating or shying away from providing life-saving treatments because they are worried about being arrested. More medical students reconsidering even pursuing women's health at all. More OB/GYN clinics without enough doctors to meet demand, closing their doors, leaving untold numbers of women in communities throughout this country without a place to go for basic gynecological care, which in turn will leave millions of us at risk of undiagnosed medical issues like cervical and uterine cancers. This is real. So do you think Donald Trump is thinking about the consequences for the millions of women who will be living in medical deserts? Does anyone think he has the emotional maturity and foresight to come up with a plan to protect us? Yo, we are teetering on the edge. Even before these state bans, America was already lagging behind every other wealthy nation on measures like maternal mortality and paid leave. So we could be right back to the days before Roe, which many young people here don't even remember. The days when abortion wasn't as safe as it is today. The days when the number of mothers of color dying in childbirth was 30 to 40% higher than when it was under Roe. So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women, and how it will affect every single woman in your life. Your girlfriend could be the one in legal jeopardy if she needs a pill from out of state or overseas, or if she has to travel across state lines because the local clinic closed up. Your wife or mother could be the ones at higher risk of dying from undiagnosed cervical cancer because they have no access to regular gynecological care. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. And this will not just affect women, it will affect you and your sons. The devastating consequences of teen pregnancy won't just be borne by young girls, but also by the young men who are the fathers. They too will have their dreams of going to college. Their entire future is totally upended by an unwanted pregnancy. If you and your partner are expecting a child, you will be right by her side at the checkups, terrified if her blood pressure is too high, or if there's an issue with the placenta, or if the ultrasound shows that the embryo was implanted in the wrong place, and the doctors aren't sure that they can intervene to keep the woman you love safe. If your wife is shivering and bleeding on the operating room table during a routine delivery gone bad, her pressure dropping as she loses more and more blood, or some unforeseen infection spreads and her doctors aren't sure if they can act, you will be the one praying that it's not too late. You will be the one pleading for somebody, anybody, to do something. And then there is the tragic but very real possibility that in the worst case scenario, you just might be the one holding flowers at the funeral. You might be the one left to raise your children alone. See, these are just some of the ways women die during childbirth. And I don't want to be a downer, y'all. But in many cases, there is no warning and things go bad very quickly. And when it happens, every second of hesitation or delay can lead to devastating outcomes. So I am asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. Please, do not put our lives in the hands of politicians, mostly men, who have no clue or do not care about what we as women are going through, who don't fully grasp the broad-reaching health implications that their misguided policies will have on our health outcomes. The only people who have standing to make these decisions are women with the advice of their doctors. We are the ones with the knowledge and experience to know what we need. So please, please do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth.
Let me get that turned off here real quick so that we don't get another video starting up here right behind it. But folks, yeah, that was a very inspirational message. My wife and I sat and we watched it together. We laughed whenever she made jokes, but in this particular area, we watched in horror and in shock, and really it hit home to us that our children and our grandchildren, our nieces, their lives will be in danger if Donald Trump is elected. So I'm calling upon all of you to call on friends, just like I do. I call out all of my friends and all of my family on Facebook who are out there. A lot of them don't want to hear from me anymore, but I call them out anyway. And I tell them, this is what you're doing. And I even call them out and say, hey, look, you call yourself a Christian and you do everything you can to object to everything that Jesus asked us to do. And it's hard on me. It's hard on my relationship with my friends and family. But to me, this is too important to let go. We cannot allow this election to go the way it did in 2016. We cannot have a repeat of that. We have got to continue to break this apart and continue to knock MAGA down to the point that eventually those people who have so much bigotry in their heart, so much supremacy, that they think that they are so big and above everybody else, and they want to look down upon you and me and everybody who wants to think that we have, being part of a society. I'm calling on all of us to vote. Vote for the Democrats. Vote for Kamala Harris. Vote for Tim Walz. Vote for people like Melissa Provenzano over in Tulsa. She's under attack. Vote for Chris Wier. We need those Democrats in the state house so that we can challenge Ryan Walters and his extremism here in Oklahoma. But again, we have to vote. In order to vote down ballot, and we have to vote. We have to help everybody from the president on down to the person who is running for county commission. Just like Sarah Gray over in Tulsa County. Again, we got to help every single person who is running as a Democrat, because again, our lives are at stake and the lives of our nieces, our daughters, our granddaughters, even in some cases, our wives and our mothers are in jeopardy because of this draconian laws that the Heritage Foundation and the other supporters of Donald Trump want to implement throughout the nation. we can't go back. We can't do the 1940s and 50s all over again. If you guys remember, I live in Norman, Oklahoma, the home of James Garner. And his name was actually James Bumgarner. And his mother, when he was 2 years old, died because she went to a back alley abortion clinic to get an abortion. And she bled out and died right here in Norman, Oklahoma. And he was basically raised by his grandmother, and he was shifted around all over the place. But that was his upbringing, and we can't do that again. Abortions are safe. In some cases, we don't appreciate why a person wants to do it, but we have to rely on that person's judgment and not our own. Folks, hey, until tomorrow on Coffee with Democrats, I appreciate everybody joining us here. And again, until tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock, please be safe.